Good evening, students. In previous class, we have been discussing about uh, there is a harmonic and the periodic force, if it is there, or some general force is there in the system, how we can able to obtain the undamped response. And even we discuss about the modal analysis, especially when we have the aperiodic forces in the system, how we can able to decouple the equation into when we are talking about discrete system, then n degree of freedom system, we can case will take up in the subsequent lecture. Or in that case, we discretize the continuous system to infinite number of single degree of freedom system. So today I will take up one example on the discrete system, how we can able to discretize the discrete system to n number of single degree of freedom system. Then we can able to apply convolution integral to indivisible those degree of freedom. And once we get the response using convolution integral, again we need to transform back our response to the actual physical coordinates, from natural coordinate to physical coordinate. So with this background, I will share the slide. So this is a example I have taken for illustration only 2 degree of freedom system, but this can be applied to any larger degree of freedom system. Okay, so here as compared to the previous example, I think now I added another force here, and this force is not harmonic now. There are some general force F1 and F2. So the form of the force we are not specifying here. Once we have the exact form of the force, either step function or any other general function, then we can able to substitute them and we can able to obtain the force response corresponding to that. So here we are we without force we already obtained the eigenvalue problem earlier. The natural frequency we obtained earlier, and that will be we'll be using here. So this is the equation of motion with the force at both the locations now, F1 and F2. So and we have the from eigenvalue problem the modal matrix, that is nothing but the eigenvector. This is corresponding to the first mode. This is corresponding to the second mode. So before proceeding for the forced vibration, we need to solve the free vibration to get the natural frequency and the mode shape that will form the modal matrix. Now with the modal matrix, if we take the first column of this and if we multiply with the mass matrix, that particular column, and pre-multiply by a transpose of that, we will get so-called modal mass. So you can see this is the transpose of this. This is the mass matrix, and this is the first column. So if we multiply, we'll get some value. That is we call it as a modal mass. Similarly, if we take the second column and multiply with the mass matrix and pre-multiply by a transpose of that, we will get another modal mass. This modal mass is, as we know, that if we pre-multiply the whole U matrix with the mass matrix, the transpose of that and the this, we get the diagonal elements. So basically, these are the diagonal elements. The off diagonal terms will be 0 here, and these are called diagonal terms are called modal mass. Here we are not normalize the the vector model matrix. So with this square root of this, if we divide with the first column of this vector, this will be the mass normalized first eigenvector. Similarly, square root of the MM2, if we divide this to second column, that will be the mass normalized eigenvector. So if we do this, because now we know this quantity, so this model matrix will take this form. So these are the mass normalized eigenvector for the first mode and the second mode. So now we can use this transformation matrix between the physical coordinate and the natural coordinate, and this is the transformation. The u, this cap is showing that this is a mass normalized. So if we do the multiplication of the mass matrix with this and pre-multiply by transpose of this, we will get a transform mass matrix. So this is a mass matrix. If we pre-multiply by transpose of this and post-multiply by this, we will get identity matrix. That is expected because once we normalize the eigenvector with respect to mass, we are supposed to get the identity matrix with that particular mass normalized model matrix. So this is fine. We could able to get the identity matrix of the mass matrix. Similarly, in stiffness matrix, if we multiply post and pre with this mass normalized eigen model matrix, this is the stiffness matrix. These are the matrices for the model matrix. This will be diagonal. So if we do this, this will be diagonal. Off diagonal terms will be 0. Now we have obtained the K matrix, which is transformed into the natural coordinate using the mass normalized model matrix. Similarly, the force vector. So if you remember the force vector of the actual system, if we pre-multiply by the U transpose, then this we get the transformed force vector in the that is called generalized force. So if we multiply this, we will get like this. So you can see that the transformed force contain F1, F2 in the first row, similarly in the second row also, and the participation of the F1 and F2 will depend upon this mass normalized model matrix. So now we have the whole equation of motion we have transformed. So this is a mass matrix, this is the inertia, this is the stiffness matrix which we transform here, and this is the force vector. So force vector was F1 and F2, but we need to take the transpose, we need to multiply by this, so we got this. Now if you see, this equation in this matrix is uncoupled. So the first equation can be taken out, second equation also can be taken out independent of each other. So we got two equations. First equation contains only the eta 1. This is one of the natural coordinate. Here the force are there from the both F1 and F2. Similarly, this is the second natural coordinate eta 2. So now you can see that the 2 degree of freedom system, which was coupled earlier, now they're uncoupled. So this is single degree of freedom system. This is another single degree of freedom system. So we could able to convert into 2 single degree of freedom system. This can be solved independent of this, and this can be solved independent of this. So if you see, this is single degree of freedom system, so we can able to apply the convolution integral to obtain the response of this, because these forces are general in nature. So this is the convolution integral for undamped single degree of freedom system, which we obtained earlier in very first chapter. So this is the force corresponding to the this first force, that is the generalized force, and omega 1 is the first natural frequency. So now we can substitute this particular force from here. So this is the force corresponding to the first equation, and because we don't know the actual form of the force, so we cannot able to integrate it. But if we know what kind of force is this, any kind of general force, we can able to integrate as we used to do for like step function or continuously varying functions like that. Similarly, the second equation the response can be obtained. This is the second force. So this is the second force which we can substitute. So now we have got the natural coordinate response of this using this. Now, once we have obtained this, we need to go back to the actual physical system y1 and y2 using the same transformation matrix. So, but here you can see that in the first natural coordinate, both the forces are contributing. Similarly, for the second also, both the forces are contributing. So, when we have transformed the system into single degree of freedom system, contribution of all the forces may come in a single natural coordinate. Similarly here also. So now we need to transform back this natural coordinates to our actual coordinate. So this is the transformation which we used earlier. So this is the first column of the eigen-model matrix, normalized model matrix, and this is the coordinate. So this is row vector, this column vector. So if we multiply, we'll get two terms, which is written in the summation form. If this is n degree of freedom system, then the summation will be from 1 to n. And these are from the first column, first row element, and this is the first column, second element of the model matrix, mass normalized model matrix. If we go back here, so this is the first column, this is the second column. So this has been used here, and similarly this. So now you can see that we got back the response in the physical coordinate once we integrated in the natural coordinate domain using convolution integral, which was simpler because they were uncoupled equations. So this is called modal analysis, in which we, with the whole help of modal information, that is the natural frequency and the mode shape, we can able to decouple the equation of motion so that we can able to easily solve the response in that domain. And again, we can come back to the physical domain by transformation. So this is one of the example for discrete system. Now, because in discrete system, the things are relatively simpler. So now we'll go for the continuous system. The similar procedure of modal analysis, which is there for the discrete system, will be applicable for the continuous system. So here we will take initially the general formulation, and then we'll go for specific examples. So as we know, the equation of motion of a continuous system is having this form, having L operator, M operator. So this is nothing but the inertia force. Sorry, this is the elastic force. This is the inertia force. And now we are considering the external force. So external force, this is a distributed force, and this is concentrated force, because we can have force at one location or the force can be distributed. So this is representing a general continuous system with forcing also, where this L operator and M operators that we know, all those properties, self-adjointness, all those things we need to have. Okay, and here this is the direct delta function, which is basically specifying the location of this concentrated force. So in fact, with this direct delta function, this concentrated force can be considered as a distributed over a very small length at location Pj. P is the location. So like if we're considering the single degree of freedom single dimension system, so P will be x, spatial coordinate. So x is equal to xj. So something like that. But this has been written for the general, even P can be x, y, z in this particular case. So direct delta function property we already seen earlier. If integration of that is 1, and okay, so as I was telling, this can be considered as distributed force around one particular location. Associated boundary conditions are there. This is simpler boundary condition, having no eigenvalue in the boundary condition, and we know that there will be p number of boundary condition at a particular boundary, and BA is again linear homogeneous differential operator. And eigenvalue problem, as I mentioned, before solving the force vibration, we need to solve the eigenvalue problem here also for continuous system. So this is the eigenvalue problem where M is not a differential operator, simple function of X. And this is the boundary condition associated with the eigenvalue problem. And from here we can, because we have solved the eigenvalue problem, so from here we can get infinite set of eigenfunctions and the natural frequency. So here I am talking about the closed form solution, not the approximate solution at present. For simpler boundary condition, we have obtained the closed form solution, and we found that the natural frequency and the eigenfunctions were infinite in number. They were discrete but infinite in number. Even we had that is normalization with respect to mass of the eigenfunctions, and even the orthogonality condition is I think specified with this. If we have two different eigenfunctions, this becomes 0. Otherwise, if they are same, then is 1. So that is individually all the modes or the eigenfunctions we are normalizing to equal to 1. So some similarity you can see as we have done for the discrete system. Here also the similar properties, similar steps will be there. When we do the integration of the L operator, then that gives the natural frequency square when we mass normalize the eigenfunction. So here this will be square of the natural frequency. So when this R and S are same, we'll get the equal to natural frequency square. If they are not same, then it will be 0. So this is orthogonality condition also contained in this. And then the expansion theorem also we had in the continuous system, in which we wrote the response, which is function of spatial coordinate p, and time is a function of the eigenfunction at the summation of eigenfunction multiplied by the generalized coordinate. So now here the summation is from 1 to infinity, because we can have an infinite number of generalized coordinates and corresponding eigenfunctions in the continuous system. So now what we'll do, this is a chosen form of the solution. This we can substitute in the the general equation of motion. This we wrote in the very first slide of this. So this is the general equation of motion. We'll substitute for W here. So this has been done here. So L W has been put in the series form here. Then M operator, differentiation with respect to time, and then this series form. On the right side, there is no W, only the forces are there. So they will remain as it is. Now we'll change the order of summation, and the L operator will bring the summation outside and L operator inside. And L operator is, we know, is with respect to the P, spatial coordinates, not temporal. So the L operator will do onto the P, not the time thing, because L is something like del by del square and that kind of thing. So this has been modified like this. Similarly here, we can have the differentiation of time will be only on the eta part. WRP is function of only the spatial coordinate, so this will not get differentiated. So this is the differentiation which with respect to time twice, double dot is representing that, and remaining term, because here M is not a differential operator, so this has been kept here as it is. And this is the forcing. There's no change here. Now because what we are doing, we are trying to now you can see there are so many terms in this. Now we want to decouple them. So for decoupling them, we multiply the previous equation by WSP, that is the eigenfunction, which is different as compared to R, and then we are integrating over domain. So in the previous equation, we multiplied by this. So this is the multiplication, and we are integrating over domain. So integration is with respect to P only. So this time thing will not come in the integration. So this is one. And then when we integrate, time thing will come out. And this is the WS we multiplied. And this is the previous terms. Here also we multiplied by WS with the force, and we're integrating over the domain. So domain will be for one-dimensional thing, the length of the beam. For two-dimensional, then it will be whole area. Now we can able to apply the So before applying the orthogonality condition, let us see this one. This is here we have considered only single force, single concentrated force. If we have number of forces in the system, not necessarily single force will be there. So if number of forces are there, then just we need to add them. J is equal to 1 to L, and so number of forces can be accommodated here itself. So this is the same equation. So this is the force which we are representing nRT to the whole right side of this, and and once we have if you see, the integration is involved here, and if we use the direct delta function property, the integration of this will be simple. Directly we can able to substitute because this will be multiplied by this W. So W P is equal to Pj in the function we need to substitute, then the integration will be directly we can able to obtain. For the distributed thing, we need to obtain based on the distribution of the force. If this force is parabolically varying or varying linearly or any distribution, so accordingly then we need to integrate. But for concentrated force, we can directly get the integration by substituting the value of the spatial coordinate where the force is located in the eigenfunction. So this is the generalized force associated with the generalized coordinate or the natural coordinate nr. So in the this is the same equation as the previous one. I have put in the boxes where we will apply the orthogonality condition. So this is for the L operator, this is for M operator. So if you see the orthogonality condition for L operator, we have if for L operator we get the square of the natural frequency if R is equal to S. So and for this we'll get 1. So here summation is involved. R is varying from 1 to infinity. So when R is equal to S, then only this term will be omega square. S square will be there, otherwise it will be 0 according to this. So similarly here, when R is equal to S, then only this will be 1, otherwise it will be 0. So so this equation will be decoupled. So you can see this equation will become, because this becomes 1 when R is equal to S. So we are left with this. Similarly, when R is equal to S, this will be omega square. Omega square this is equal to this. I'm representing as R is equal to N R. So this is the generalized force. Because R or S, this is a dummy variable. So we can take one of the variable, and here R will vary from 1 to infinity. So this is the decoupled equation having single degree of freedom system, and they are infinite in number. So this is the decoupling of the this equation to n the infinite number of single degree of freedom system. So now you can see we can able to apply the convolution integral, whatever the force is there, we can able to apply the convolution integral to get the eta r. So that will give the response. So this is the same equation with infinite number of equations. All are single degree of freedom. They are uncoupled. So like if we are writing for r is equal to 1, this will be containing eta 1 only. So there is no eta 2 in the first equation. Similarly, in the second equation, there will not be any eta 1. So basically, they are uncoupled. And the response of this can be obtained using convolution integral. If we have both initial condition and the force, then this whole thing can be considered. So depending upon the force, we can able to obtain either due to the initial condition or due to any force from this equation. So generally, we consider the initial condition when we want the response of the system for very short duration, because we know in actual system always there is a damping. So this transient part will dies out after some time. So if we want the steady state condition, then only this we need to retain. This will be ignored. So here now the initial conditions are there, which are in the natural coordinate, and generally initial conditions will be getting in the physical coordinate. So we need to get these coordinates in that particular form. I think we have done this transformation, but I am again repeating here. So we need the initial condition in the natural coordinates. So how we can able to obtain, that is explained here. So this from the expansion theorem, we written the response of the system like this. Now if we multiply both sides of this by M operator and into WR, and then integrate over domain. So that means we have multiplied this with the eigenfunction and the M operator. We integrated over domain. This side also we integrated after multiplication of this. Now once we have multiplied it, now if you see when this R is varying from 0 to infinity. So when R is 1, so this will be W or W1. So according to the orthogonality condition, this will be 0. So this term only will be 1 when R is equal to R. So it is shown here when the whole summation from 0, 1 to infinity, only the one term will give us non-zero term, or this will be 0. So, and that will be equal to 1. So in the right side only will be left with the eta r here. This integration will be 1 according to the orthogonality condition or the normalization. Now eta r is given by this expression, this one. So now you can see if we want the eta r at 0 time, we can able to obtain from this by putting the time is equal to 0. So only w is containing time. So this the generally we'll be knowing the initial condition with respect to w, physical system or response. And if we want the velocity of that, because this is the only term which is containing time term. So if we derivate this with respect to time, we'll get the derivative of this only. So these are the initial conditions which we need to get. Because in the convolution integral, if we want, we have initial conditions, then these we need to obtain from the actual initial conditions. These are the actual initial conditions. So now once we obtain this, then this will basically give us the response in the physical system directly. So you can see we need to multiply with the eigenfunction and the natural coordinate to get the response in the this. So this is the very general procedure for the continuous system. Now I'll take up a very specific case of one system. So if you have any question till now, I'll just have a small pause here. If you okay, so I'm now taking the continuous system without any approximation. So this is one of the example in which we are solving the response of a unrestrained rod in longitudinal vibration. So you can see there is a rod here, rectangle rod, which is lying on a frictionless surface. And at one end, there is a force Ft acting. The property of this rod is given here. So we are exciting this particular rod in the axial vibration. So this is something like free end condition is there. And we are applying force in one of the end only. So force is applied at x is equal to 0. So before attempting the force vibration, we need to solve the free vibration problem, the free vibration problem. So because for free we already solved the eigenvalue problem, and we had one natural frequency 0, and this is correspondingly mass normalized eigenfunction. Other natural frequencies are given by this, where r is equal to 1 to infinity, and corresponding eigenfunction is this. So this is a must before we go for the free force vibration. So we need to solve the eigenvalue problem, corresponding eigenfunctions, then only we can go for the force vibration. So the assumed solution, which is function of x and time, can be assumed as a eigenfunction multiplied by this natural coordinates or the generalized coordinate. Here ur is nothing but the previous this eigenfunctions which we obtained from eigenvalue problem earlier. This natural coordinate we can able to obtain using this convolution integral here, because we already seen how we decouple the equation in the general form. So those again steps are not giving here. This generalized coordinate we earlier obtained using the convolution integral, ignoring the initial conditions, because we are applying a steady force at the free end. There is no initial condition we are giving. So we want the steady state response. So we are not bothered about the initial condition. So that part has been ignored here. Okay. Now this force, which is which is generalized force, we need to obtain using the this kind of expression we derived in the general formulation, where the distributed force was there and the concentrated force was there. So n number of concentrated force can be there. But in the present case, only one concentrated force is there at x is equal to 0. There is no distributed force. So this integral is 0 for us. Here, instead of summation, only one term is there, and that too at x is equal to 0. So that means the eigenfunction we need to, hello, I think some noise. Okay. So yeah. So here, as I was mentioning, there's no distributed force, only the concentrated force is there. This is the eigenfunction. So here, this is the eigenfunction, and we need to put x is equal to 0 here. So I've written in the more general way here at present, which take case of the rigid body mode also, 0, 1, 2 like this. So this eigenfunction we already obtained using this. So in the rigid body mode, this is not function of x because all the particles are having same motion. Here, when we obtain the other modes, we need to put x is equal to 0 to get the force. So this is the force which we got, generalized force. This we need to substitute in the convolution integral. So if we put this force here and then this coordinate here, this is the equation. So now you can see u r x is this one, eta r is integration ft f tau, this f tau, because this is constant term, so this will come out from the integration u r this, 1 by w r is anyway outside. Also this summation is there, that is outside, no issue. Integration this and the sine function. So this is the response of the system for the present case. This is a more general expression in which we have substituted the force and then the coordinate here to get the response. If we know the form of this particular force, then we can simplify these expressions. So now here we are applying a unit step function. So at the end, whatever the force we apply, we are applying a unit step function of magnitude f naught. So that can be represented as f naught ut, where ut is defined as is 0 when time less than 0 or equal to 0, and is 1 when it is t is greater than 0. So in the previous expression which we wrote, this is the ft which we need to replace with this this particular step function now. So this has been, so in place of ft, so I have taken out the integrand separately because this will substitute then. So only the integration is taken here, and instead of, I think this should be ut, should be u tau, and this should be u tau. So only u, then we can able to integrate this from 0 to t. 0 to t, ut is having one value, so only we need to integrate this particular term. So here you can see this is a tau, this is also tau, so that we need to replace. So if we integrate this function like this, we'll get a closed form integration of this integral. So now we can substitute this here in place of this. So this has been done here. So because yeah, one more thing is the amplitude part is f naught, so that also will come here. F naught will come here, so that is f naught. This is as it is. This is also as it is in this first term. This is the integration, and ur is additional, so this becomes ur square. So now you can see that we have evaluated the convolution integral for a particular force, this one, and we replace with the time function. Now this is more we can able to understand that if you want to plot the response of the beam at any location with respect to time, we can able to, if let us say if we take x is equal to L by 2, and then we can vary the time and we can get how the displacement will change with time. We can able to plot it. But here one thing is there, because we have rigid body mode, so corresponding to that we have the zero natural frequency. So if you put the zero natural frequency, this will become infinity. Okay, but that is not the case. If you see, WR is here also. So if we take out this particular ratio, and in the limit when omega naught is equal to 0, we can able to apply the D'Hospital rule. We differentiate this twice, and we will get something like this. So when this omega naught is equal to 0, we will get this particular term as half t square. So what we'll do, so because the summation is from r is equal to 0 to infinity, so r is equal to 0 term we'll take out separately, and we'll start the summation from 1. So this is corresponding to r is equal to 0, and this is remaining from r is equal to 1 to infinity. This we have substituted as we would obtain 1/2 t square. Mode shape, this eigenfunctions we have substituted here. Here also the eigenfunction, this is the eigenfunction for the rigid mode. This is the eigenfunction for the rigid mode. This is the for the this is for the flexible mode. ur naught is this one, and yeah. And yeah, omega r is given. Natural frequency also has been substituted from here. So there is this one, natural frequency square 1 by, because this is in the denominator. So this is, so your natural frequency expression has been put here. Even we can put here also natural frequency expression, so that we have all the expression in the terms of variables. Now you can see that this can be simplified. This is the rigid body part, rigid body mode part, and this is, yeah. So once we simplify this, within the summation, all the term containing r will retain. So this has been this. Now this particular summation, if you are good in mathematics, can be expressed because we know the series summations, and also with that knowledge we can able to express this because here 1 is there. So once we expand this, that particular term can be written like this. So this is corresponding to this, and corresponding to the first term of this is this, using this expression, and the remaining is as it is with omega t also. So here there are 3 terms in the response. One is this one, which is corresponding to the rigid body mode. This is corresponding to the static deflection or static deformation, and this is time dependent term. So here also we can able to plot the displacement of the beam at any location x, either it is x is equal to 0 or x is equal to L by 2 or x is equal to L. Once we have chosen the position, then we can vary the time and we can plot the displacement, how it is varying at different locations onto the beam. So that is the force response we can plot. So this is one of the example which I have taken. This is another example in which I'll start this particular thing. I'll stop in between if time does not permit. So here it is a simply supported beam. Here we are giving an initial displacement to the beam. So initial displacement is, you can see x, and time t is equal to 0. So this function is given. So this is the function if we plot. So the shape of the function is like this. So we are giving a beam this kind of initial displacement, and then we are leaving it to oscillate. So we are giving initial displacement to the beam. There is no initial velocity. There is no other external force. So there is no initial velocity and no external force. So for simply supported beam, so this is a bending of beam case. This is not a axial vibration. So for simply supported beam, earlier we obtained the natural frequency of the beam using closed form solution. Even we obtain the eigenfunctions. So this will be used here. So this is the must before we proceed for the force vibration of this kind. So again, the solution will be choosing as eigenfunctions multiplied by the generalized coordinates, and this generalized coordinate we can obtain using the convolution integral. Here there is no external force, so first term is 0. There is no velocity, no, this is also 0. Only we are left with the initial condition. So as we derive this term for all kind of forces, so for this particular case, first term and the last terms are 0. Only the initial displacement is given to us. So now you can see that NR naught cos omega t is written, and this initial condition in the natural coordinate we can obtain using the using initial condition given, because initial condition always will be given in terms of the W P naught, like this. We need to transform this initial condition to the natural coordinate. So this expression can be used, which we derived just now. So here you can see Wx naught. Wr is the eigenfunction. This is the displacement. Okay, this is the eigenfunction. This is the displacement at t is equal to 0, and this is the mass distribution. Or cos omega t is this one, where r can vary from 1 to infinity. Now, if we substitute these, first we need to calculate this integral. So we are obtaining the nr at 0. So this integral as it is, then we are substituting the mass is constant. This is eigenfunction that is given by this, and this is the initial condition given by this particular function. So if we once we substitute this, this can be calculated. So now what we are doing it, yeah, here we have substituted everything. In the next slide we'll calculate this one. So if we integrate that initial condition in the natural coordinates, we'll get like this, the previous one, this integration. Okay, so this we need to substitute in the generalized coordinate, and then generalized coordinate we need to substitute in the summation term. So what at present we have On the next slide, we have integrated this. This is this. Now, even if you see this kind of function is coming, so if R is even, this will be plus, then this quantity becomes 0. So response will be 0. When R is odd, this will become 2. So this will become this. So we need to get the response for R is equal to, so all the even modes will be 0. All the R modes will be present. So I will give the reason for that subsequently. So when we combine this and substitute back to the this equation, so we obtain this, we'll substitute here, then we substitute this here to get the total response of the system. So you can see that we the eigenfunction is given by this, and this initial condition in the natural coordinate is given. So we have substituted in the natural coordinates, and then natural coordinate we have substituted here. So we got this expression, this one. So rearrangement of this same thing, because R is all the odd terms will be having some value, otherwise it will be 0, odd terms. So this 2n plus 1 is odd terms, so n can vary from 1 to infinity now. So this is the response of the system, which we can able to plot at any location of the beam at any time with this. Okay, so why this these terms are 0? Actually, if you go back here, we are given the initial disturbance that is symmetric with respect to the middle of the beam. So all the even modes, like second mode of the beam, is, we know that is asymmetrical. So if we second mode is asymmetrical, half here and half here, full sine wave. So the asymmetrical modes will not get excited if we are giving a initial displacement which is symmetric. So even the third mode will be having 3 loops that is asymmetric, so that will not get excited with the initial displacement. So that's why only the even modes are getting excited with the even these odd modes are getting excited with the this, not the even ones. Even ones are 2, 4. These are all they becomes odd shape. Not, so second mode shape is like this. So that is this is not symmetric about the midpoint, and the displacement we are giving is symmetric. So that's why the all the modes corresponding to the 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, those will be absent here. So I'll continue the same specific problems in the Catenay system in the next class also, and then we'll go for the approximate method because we already dealt with the approximate method. So that will be just extension of the previous things which we have discussed earlier. Yeah. So if you have any query regarding the present lecture, so I think people are attempting assignments. That is good. I have extended the date to next week. So I again encourage students to submit assignments, because so many doubts will get clear with that. So you're always welcome to email me with whatever the attempt you have made, the scan form you send me, and then I'm able to clarify those doubts. Okay. So if there are no questions, then I'll stop here. And one more thing regarding the quiz. Now, because